Hi Donnie, thanks for your video response to my comments on your video. I was trying to convey to you that it is really not possible to be a Wiccan without being a witch. The reason is that to understand what witchcraft is, you would have to know that the Wiccan beliefs about nature and humanity and the universe are directly from witchcraft philosophy, both ancient and modern. Witchcraft is not simply standing at the altar doing spells, nor is it understanding herbalism or something like that. Most witches have their own specialty. I'm no herbalist, for example. If I have a question about herbs, I'll go ask Tiptoe Chick. She's the rock and herbal queen. I'm, more focused on divination, prosperity magic, candle magic, things like that. But that doesn't mean I'm any less of a witch. It just means that we have different focuses. The principles of Wiccan belief actually have a pretty good definition of what a witch is. And I'll give you a couple examples that were on the same page. The principles of Wiccan belief are a modern set of belief guidelines for Wiccans. They've been reprinted and restated several times, but you won't find any Wiccan authority that claims it's possible to be a Wiccan without being a witch. And these are probably why. If you understand this, you pretty much understand what the Wiccan cosmology is. Almost every tradition adheres to these in some way, shape, or form. So we acknowledge, this is number 3, Principles of Wiccan Belief number 3. We acknowledge a depth of power far greater than that is apparent to the average person. Because it is far greater than ordinary, it is sometimes called supernatural. We see it as lying within that which is naturally potential to all. So in other words, what they're saying is that the human potential is not simply what people think it is, this mundane world, that there is more to be discovered about what it is to be human. That the human potential includes the potential for magic. And I'll continue so that you'll see what I'm talking about. Principle of belief number 5 says, we recognize both outer and inner or psychological worlds, sometimes known as the spiritual world, the collective unconscious, inner planes, etc. And we see in the interaction of these two dimensions the basis for paranormal phenomena and magical exercises. We neglect neither dimension for the other, seeing both as necessary for our fulfillment. So in other words, both of these dimensions are necessary for fulfillment, and they help in magical exercises. So in other words, it's understanding how magic works. A religion centered around how magic works, why would you even want to be a part of that religion if you're not going to understand and use magic? We see religion, this is number 7, by the way, we see religion, magic, and wisdom in living as being united in the way one views the world and lives within it. A worldview and philosophy of life which we identify as witchcraft, the Wiccan way. So, the Wiccan way is witchcraft. The philosophy of life and worldview of the Wiccan is that of witchcraft. And that magic is not a separate part of one's life. It's a part of your everyday life. And that kind of goes into principle belief number 8, which describes further what it is to be a witch. Number 8 says, calling oneself a witch does not make a witch, but neither does heredity itself, nor the collecting of titles, degrees, and initiations. A witch seeks to control the forces within him or herself that make life possible in order to live wisely and well without harm to others and in harmony with nature. So, I think that a wise witch follows this pretty well. Someone who understands what witchcraft is, you understand that it's not just standing at an altar doing spells. You're sending out energy all the time with intent. And so it's not separate from your mundane life. It is your life. Magic is your life, and it's happening all around you all the time. Witches recognize that. And the idea and the beliefs of Wicca are that you recognize that. So it's not really possible for it to be separate. I understand that you may have friends that call themselves Wiccan that don't cast spells, but they still have magical energy that they use on a daily basis. And if they understand that, then they're witches. If they don't, then they need to go back and really restudy their religion that they've chosen, because part of understanding that religion is understanding how magical energy works. Number 11 says, as American witches, we are not threatened by debates on history of the craft, the origins of various terms, the origins of various aspects of different traditions. We are concerned with our present and future. So they're identifying here as witches, and more specifically as American witches, because this was done in Minnesota. I really think it's more universal than that, but this was done for a specific purpose to try to get Wicca recognized as a religion, so that's why it identifies them as American witches. But they are witches. I mean, this is about Wiccans who identify as witches. And the principles of Wiccan belief state specifically that Wiccans are witches. Now one can believe, for example, in a god-goddess concept and believe in the four elements, so to speak, without being a witch. But that doesn't make them Wiccan. It just makes them a neo-pagan. To be a Wiccan, one has to understand their own energy. That's part of the beliefs of a Wiccan. So, and then lastly, I'd like to state that the word Wicca is the word witch. So when you call yourself a Wicca or a Wiccan, you're identifying with the word witch. People might not like to use the term witch, which is why they started using the term Wiccan to begin with. But I'm going to put a link on the description of this video from a video of Ray Buckland, who's one of the main modern authorities on witchcraft and Wicca, and where he discusses what Wiccans are. And I think it's very interesting. Anyway, that's my response to your video. I hope that clears it up. I understand that you have your own observations and things like that, but I cannot rationalize how someone could be a Wiccan without being a witch. One other thing that you said in your video is that Wicca is the religion of witchcraft. It's a religion of witchcraft, but there are witches from just about every different religious path. And there's different cosmologies and philosophies of witchcraft, but Wicca is a philosophy of witchcraft, a religion of witchcraft. And it's not really feasible to separate the two because of, the identifying factor. But, for example, I'm no longer Wiccan. The reason I don't call myself Wiccan is because I no longer believe in inherent duality. I think that there's many forces that are working for and against each other, and that sometimes they're unbalanced. That's how come we have unbalance in our universe sometimes. And so the idea that there's always this perfect balance between the two doesn't really make sense to me anymore. But I understand why Wiccans believe that way. But the whole idea is that, yes, you can be a witch without being a Wiccan, but you cannot be a Wiccan without being a witch.